Hi there. My name is Georgie Niles, and I'm your student social studies teacher at North Thurston High School this year. I'm first going to get started with class content, then we're going to talk about our 4-point grading scale, and then finish up with my classroom expectations. My first three classes of the day is U.S. history. We're going to start out with Reconstruction, Gilded Age and Progressivism, Roaring Twenties, the Great Depression and New Deal, World War II, post war America on the world stage, post war America at home, and hopefully get to contemporary issues. I like to weave in a thread of civil rights, and I feel that it's very appropriate for the times right now through the whole school year. However, due to the remote learning model, we might not get through all of this, but we are going to try. Whoops, let me go back. Sorry. So for World Studies 1, which is my freshman, the same thing goes as far as we're going to try to get to all of these topics as best we can. We're going to start out with the Dark Ages, which of course includes the bubonic plague, which everybody loves. Move on to Middle Ages, the Renaissance, Reformation, European explorers and colonization, the Atlantic slave trade, and the Enlightenment and Scientific Revolution. Now, what I'd like to do is move on to my 4-point grading scale. That can seem very confusing to parents and students. If you're looking in Canvas at grades, it's not going to look very accurate. In Canvas, we have to make every assignment worth 100 points. I grade 0 through 4. So if you're looking in Canvas, it's going to look a little wonky. What I would advise you to do is actually look into Skyward and not look at the percentage, but look at the actual grade. So, for instance, if your student has a 4%, they really have 100% in the class. That's an A. I have a typical grade scale as far as 60 to 70% is a D, 70 to 80% is a C, 80 to 90 is a B, 90 to 100 is an A. So, with that being said, what I want you to understand is on the left here is the percentage, but on the right is the point value that you're going to see for your student. And Skyward converts that nicely, and I can't explain how. It just does that for us. So down here, I've got the just a generic scoring rubric. Most kids will get a 3. That's you completed the assignment, you did what you were supposed to do. To receive a 4, the student is going to have to go over and beyond what is required of them. They may have to do a little more research. Sometimes I'm going to tell the students what they can do to get a 4, but not always. Sometimes they're going to have to go on their own and figure that out. I'll be going back and forth with that. 2s are also pretty normal. A 1 means the student probably didn't understand what was asked of them. And to get a 0, you probably just didn't do the assignment. What I want you to look at over here is that a 60% is passing in my class. Anything below 60% is failing. A 1.3 will get you a 60%. So I feel like this grading scale is actually pretty forgiving, which is nice in a remote model. If you have a student that always wants a 4.0, they're going to have to go over and beyond on every assignment and every task that is asked of them. But again, most students will be in the 3-point range, which is anywhere from 83% on up to 99. But the 80% is a 2.7, that would still be counted as a B minus. This can be really confusing, and if you have other questions, please feel free to contact me through my email. And if you're a student, please contact me through Canvas. Now what I'd like to do is go on and talk about my classroom expectations. Okay, so to get started here, it's been very awkward, I have to admit. We've had a lot of glitches with student hardware, had students miss meetings, and obviously my computer takes a little while to load as well. So to get started, this is what I expect of my students. I expect them to be on time, wake up early, maybe log in a few minutes before class starts, and use their full name, first and last. I had students last year changing their name to kind of their gaming titles. That really plays tricks on my mind when I'm trying to do attendance because it's going to take me longer to get to know your student this year than in years prior. Okay. I expect my students to be in a quiet place where maybe they have a table or a desk. where they can actually be dedicated to their learning. If they're going to be on camera and people can see, check the background, okay? I don't like people looking into my personal life in my if I'm working from home, so I keep a tapestry behind me. I understand not everybody can have a tapestry, but perhaps a blank wall or something that is not distracting to other students. I've had students come to class when they're in bed. That's not appropriate. Students need to get out of bed to be in class. I expect my students to come prepared. Their computer needs to be charged, their camera should be on. But I do, like I said, that is optional. I'm not going to require my students to have their camera on. However, I really prefer it because that's going to help me get to know them and their names and their faces a lot faster. I also expect that their phone is put away. They're not texting each other while in class. Their phone isn't ringing while in class. When I say presentation, I'm not talking about kids giving presentations all the time in class, although sometimes that will happen. I'm just talking about being on camera, wearing appropriate clothing, sitting up straight. Even if you're not on camera, sitting up straight is different in that your voice projects better. You feel a little more involved. And be if you are on camera, be in camera view. When students get up and leave, that can be also distracting when we're just looking at nothing, or maybe the kitchen or the family is making lunch. I expect my if your camera's on to be visible. I also expect my students to mute themselves, mute their mic, unless they're talking. A lot of feedback comes and it's very distracting and loud sometimes, and it's hard to continue on with a Google class if everybody's mic is on. Expect my students to participate. Participation is 10% of their grade in my class. There are lots of ways to participate. Some students are too shy to participate in a Google Meet classroom. That's okay. They can make appointments with me after school and on Fridays. They can send me emails. We can communicate that way. They need to attend class, of course. They need to be paying attention. That's also being an active participant. I expect my students to chat responsibly. Last year, I had a lot of problems with side conversations and students talking about, again, gaming or sports or something else. That is a conversation that should take place somewhere else, not during a Google Classroom. Also, Google will be implementing the raise hand to speak option soon, and I hope that my students will use it, and I will be showing them how when the time comes. Communication is so important during a remote learning model. I expect my students to sit up straight and speak clearly when they're talking during the class. Even if they're not on camera, I expect them to look up when they're speaking because the projection of the voice is so much different. If they're lying down or slouching, it's hard to hear. And again, I expect my students to stay on topic. Another part of communication is talking to me. When students email me, and I'm going to go through a whole email etiquette with them at a different day, I expect them to put in the subject line their first name, their last name, and what class period they are in. That is going to help me figure out where to find their information right away rather than me having to hunt through 160 of my students to find out what they need. I also expect my students, when they do message me, to be extremely polite in emails, just as in text. It can be misconstrued, and you might think someone's angry when they're really not. So if we're all just super polite, we're going to get a lot further. The expectations I have for myself is that I give a challenging content and make it accessible to everybody. I'm a communicator, and I am dedicated to your students' academic success. If they're successful, I'm successful. I am very timely with my feedback on assignments. I grade every day and get those things back as quickly as possible. I try to provide high quality lessons and to provide students opportunities to challenge themselves. And in that challenge, that comes with the 4-point grading scale. Some more things I expect of my students. I expect them to log into Canvas every single day. I expect them to email me through Canvas, not through my Outlook. Unless Canvas is down, then they can email me through their Outlook. But if I keep everything in Canvas, it makes everything more streamlined and I can get back to students so much quicker that way. I expect them to watch for deadlines and due dates, although I will be sending out many reminders. I expect them to participate in live classes and discussions, to read directions, and spend time on their lessons and actually do their best. And this is the end of my slideshow. And this is our RAMS acronym, where we respect yourself and others, we act responsibly, we model safety, and we strive for excellence. And I hope you all have a great evening. Thanks for attending. If you have any questions, I hope you know where to get a hold of me. Thank you.